Hey, everybody. Look who's back. Back again. Tell somebody virtually. Tell a friend. It is, what's the date today, Ivan?
Today is
May 12th. See, he's got to check, but I know. May 12th, 2020. I am your host, Rick Richards, and this is no longer the COVID anything. No longer the COVID cast, no longer the COVID crash, no longer the COVID chronicles. Got to find a name. We got a few different things going on, but I just wanted to come back and let you guys know that A, I'm not dead. B, I'm not incapacitated by the COVID-19 scare. And C, I will not say anything that goes against the World Health Organization. I was a bad boy. I learned my lesson. I learned that the video views will go bang once YouTube wants to smash you. Once they want to smack you in the head, man, it's going to go down fast. And that's exactly what happened. But hey, I'm on board now. You guys just give me the rules and I will play the game, okay? I am happy to play the game as long as I know the rules. And don't change the rules. I have already been thumped pretty good with all the stuff that's been going on business-wise and financially. But I got to say, I do have to say I'm starting to enjoy the whole COVID lockdown. Starting to enjoy it. I can drive through the tunnel pretty much whenever I want. There's no rush hour traffic. Right, Ivan?
no.
I mean, Ivan's been kind of screwed. You got no more sports really left. What are you going to do, right? I mean, although most of this stuff should be starting pretty soon, but yeah, I kind of like the whole COVID situation. I really do need a haircut though, man. I mean, come on, guys. Is there somebody out there that can cut hair? Like, for God's sakes, how bad does this have to get? I'm going to have a Vanilla Ice due pretty soon, right? And if you're too young to know who Vanilla Ice is, look him up, I guess. I don't know who to do shout outs to. I can't remember who is still watching the show and who's commenting. It has been a little bit of a while. And as you remember, this whole lockdown thing was only supposed to last 2 weeks. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Not that I would say anything against it. I think it's perfect. We got to flatten the curve. We got to stay home and we have to stay safe. Everybody needs to be safe. So I am 100% on board. And as I say, I actually like it. Hey, why wouldn't I? I have a big backyard. I have a weight room. I have a sauna. I have a swimming pool. I got a big balcony with a big barbecue. Got a lot of stuff, man. Got a lot of stuff. We are going to be joined today by producer Dave. Where is he? Where is producer Dave? Let's quickly send him a text. Make sure that the guy is not napping. And as always, or as it previously was, the show is brought to you by Athletic Alliance, makers of such fine products as Havoc 137 pre-workout, the most complete pre-workout in the planet. It has citrulline malate for pump. It has caffeine for stimulation. It has nootropics. It has electrolytes. It has everything that an active, performance-driven person could want and more. Everything and more. I don't know what more is from everything, but it's pretty damn good, right? So now, joining us from his own quarantine in the south of Ontario. Where is that? Wasaga Beach, Dave?
No, I wish it was Wasaga Beach. It's closer to Hawaii right now.
Yeah, it looks like Wasaga, though. You got palm trees there, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So
those are plastic, though. I put them there, just to make it look good. So.
Yeah, well, it works. I like the waves. I like how you got the motion in there. Yeah. Dave canned the studio audience. They're gone, right?
Well, only one can wish right now. I wish I was sitting on the beach while I was doing this video.
Yes. Well, you guys have really been screwed in Ontario, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been terrible. Aside from COVID, it just doesn't seem to let up. The weather here has been absolutely horrible. 5 degrees.
And remember, for the purpose of this show, we agree 100% with the directives our government has taken and with the World Health Organization and the CDC. Whatever their suggestion is, we agree with it completely.
100%.
Yeah, 110%. Come on, man.
101%.
Yes, 101%. Statistically, that's as high as we can go, right?
Exactly.
So Dave and I are going to talk about some businesses that may not make it through the bottleneck. But first, I would like to go through and look at some of the updates because it has been a while. I'm not going to update anybody on the COVID cases because that's kind of old news by now, right? But I will update people on some interesting developments. Now this, Ivan, this will be of interest to you. Quebec has come up with their guidelines for kids going back to school. And this is quite an extensive list. Maybe I'll post it in the show notes. But one of the things I found interesting, so where's recess here? Okay, for recess, when weather permits, recess breaks will be held outdoors and will entail walking outside safely distanced from each other in a prearranged pattern. Now, this just cracks me up. Okay, hey, everybody, it's sunny. We got 15 minutes. Everybody line up 2 meters apart and then walk in a pre-designated pattern.
Remember, 2 feet, 6 feet apart.
Like this feels like the gulag, doesn't it? Doesn't it, Dave, a little bit?
Absolutely. You would hope that the kids keep their shoelaces tied up as they're walking like that, because you certainly want them to trip over and get close to anybody.
No, yeah. What if you fall on somebody, or what if you see somebody falling? Should you catch them, or should you just say, no, you're too dangerous, I can't catch you? So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. There's a lot of another interesting thing. Where is it? Students must not expect to return to their regular class with their classmates. Okay, so forget about senior friends. Once assigned to a class, students will spend their entire day, including lunchtime, in their assigned seats. Oh, that sounds like fun, doesn't it? Don't you move off that goddamn seat.
Doesn't say much for the kids with ADD, though, right?
Well, I guess they're going to be duct taped to the seat and have their mouth taped up, probably, right? But as long as they're safe, Dave, that's what matters. As long as they are safe. I saw something else interesting. Activities completed while in school will not be evaluated or graded. Kind of makes you say, what's the point, right?
Exactly.
So all the work they do while they're frozen in their seats will not count.
Well, it just makes it seem like they're just grounded, right? All they're doing really is releasing the kids from the parents' home to give the parents a bit of a break, what it seems like.
Yeah, I guess so. So if you're a kid and you didn't like school before because you thought it was boring, hey, hold my beer. It's about to get a whole lot worse, man. A whole lot worse. But I have just one other thing that I thought was amusing. Two other things I thought was amusing. I'll share with you, Dave. This is our friend Bill Gates from way back in 1998. And it's kind of fascinating to watch him.
You're familiar with a company called Real Networks, are you not?
Yes.
Did you ever have any discussions with any representative of Real Networks concerning...
Is this the guy you want controlling your world?
Well, watching that video, the first person that came to mind, Rick, was the Rain Man.
Yeah, exactly. Like he rocks back and forth spitting out statistics, right?
Real Networks.
Yeah.
Is it not, sir?
I have no idea. I thought it was one.
Real Net.
I've never looked at those contracts.
Did you participate at all?
I knew that Muglia and Moritz were talking with Progressive about some kind of deal, but I didn't know what was in the deal.
Did you know anything about what was in the deal?
I knew there was an investment piece. I knew there was some code licensing in it. That's about all.
So yeah, that's just a flashback to Bill Gates when he was in trouble before, and he was I don't know, he was being grilled essentially for monopolizing software, which I think it's pretty obviously that they did, right? But it's just
Absolutely.
odd to see his behavior, right?
Yeah, no, it's pretty interesting to watch him there. Like, I mean, you look at him now and you look at him back then, you would never think that it was the same guy that was rocking back and forth on the chair that didn't rock.
Yeah, he's managed to start modeling human behavior. I think he's been watching and studying humans, and he's been learning their ways and how they communicate and how they sit and how they respond.
Absolutely.
So I want you to see this guy, Dave. This guy is Sam Hyde. He's a comedian. He's been on Adult Swim, and he's got some great advice for all of us.
To urge everyone to stay at home. Just stay home for another year. And I have no idea what's going on, but I'm urging you, just stay home. Stay safe. Don't leave your house. Don't even look at the windows, okay? Don't leave the house. Don't look outside. Don't listen to the radio. Don't watch TV. Sit in a room, face the corner. Sit there for 10 years. You're going to do something similar anyway. It doesn't matter. Stay in the basement for 4 to 10 years. Don't worry about it. Nothing was going to happen anyway. Nothing good was going to happen. Trust me. Nothing good.
Stay at home. Don't look out the window. Go down to your basement. Sit on a chair. Face the wall and stay there for at least 17 years. Protect the NHS.
Wanted to urge.
Oh, that killed me.
I guess that's a new definition of the cellar dweller.
Yeah, that'll be it, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you only have to do it for another 17 years, right? Stay in a chair, look at the wall. And you know what? I've been trolling people by anytime somebody wants to do something even remotely pleasurable, I send them a message: stay home, stay safe. And they like it. I'm getting it. They're encouraging me to keep doing it. I'm like, oh God, man, I'm being sarcastic here. But no, people are into it. They like it, a lot of them, right?
Well, it's become the new normal, right? For a lot of people,
Yeah, I think some of them I think it's their dream come true, a lot of them. Some of them wanted this to be the new normal.
Is that a Monster low carb?
Yeah, I'd be drinking the Havoc 137, but I didn't have a clean glass here in the Alliance Towers.
I just finished some Region X.
Did you? In a
Absolutely.
Pepsi shaker?
In a Pepsi shaker, yeah.
Wow, where's the Athletic Alliance shaker?
It's sitting in my dishwasher.
Ah, okay. Yeah, see, all that stuff is reusable, right?
Absolutely.
So Dave, let's get into the meat of the show.
Sure.
All right. You and I have chatted about this informally, I guess you'd say. And a lot of companies aren't going to make it through this bottleneck, right?
I would agree 100%, Rick.
Yeah, I think that's fairly obvious. I mean, you don't have to be the oracle at Delphi to make that observation. But which companies do you think are going to be the most severely affected? Do you think they're going to be affected because of this COVID, or are these more or less companies that were marginal to begin with, and now are just going to get hammered, right?
Well, that's a good question, because I think that's a twofold question. In all essence, like, I mean, the first one that comes to mind, if we're going to talk retail, clothing retail, is going to be the Bay. Before COVID hit, they were on the edge, and now COVID's here. It's I think it's really thrown them over the edge into the new norm, and I don't think you're going to see them. Certainly, when it comes to restaurant chains, there's going to be a lot of restaurant chains that are going to be closing down. I think the ones that are franchised are going to be the ones that are going to suffer the most. You're probably going to see some Subways closing down. But funny enough, I listened on the news today, and Tim Hortons, they actually just got an investment group in China. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but there's an investment group in China. They're a social media company that's invested millions of dollars, and they're hoped to have 1,500 Tim Hortons in China. I think it's by 2023.
Really?
Yeah, it's on the news today.
Well, yeah. I mean, Tim Hortons, they would be one of the restaurants or the chains that would be less affected. like any of those fast food places, right? I mean, a lot of their orders were takeout to begin with. I mean, does anybody really give a shit if they can't sit down inside a Tim Hortons or a McDonald's?
Well, like, I mean, the problem that all this has created, Rick, you're right. Like, I mean, people, their staple products like your coffee, people will go through the drive-through, but think about all the impulse business that they've lost. Like, how many times have you stood in the Tim Hortons line and not really wanted a donut or a sandwich or a bagel and gone to the till, and by the time you get there, you end up ordering one?
Yeah, no, it's for sure it's not ideal, but I mean, it's not, it won't be anywhere near as devastating as it would be for, like a Denny's or something like that, right? I mean, those places, even like a Boston Pizza, I mean, they can still rely on takeout to some degree, but it's just, that's going to be a tough one, right? But I would agree with you fully. I think the Bay, like I remember when the very, very start, like in the beginning of March, right around the time the NBA folded up their season, I remember as soon as the social distancing recommendations came in, the Bay was like, yeah, we're going to close. Like they didn't fight it. They didn't, they weren't looking for alternative situations, or the Bay is going to offer online service only. It was just like, yeah, we're going to close. And that tells you, right, that, they're probably kind of borderline, and it wasn't going to go well anyways, right?
Well, what about their spin-off stores like Bed Bath and Beyond? What's going to happen with those too, Rick?
Yeah, I didn't know that was a spinoff of the Bay, but yeah, they'll I don't know. Those things will probably weather the storm a little bit better than the Bay. I mean, you know what I have? I have a test, Dave. I have a test. So anytime you're looking at a business, I try to pretend it's a startup and you're going to a bank, right? So let's say you wanted to start up a newspaper, right? And you went to the bank and you said to the bank, I need $10 million. What do you need it for? Well, I want to hire a whole fleet of reporters, and they're going to go out and cover all the news that's going on in the city. They're all going to get a salary. They're all going to get, expenses. And I also want to hire a whole workforce of people to print newspapers, right? And I'm going to need a couple $1 million worth of machinery, and I'm going to need a giant building, and I'm going to need a fleet of trucks, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to print this news up every day. And they're like, wow, how much are you going to charge? $1? I'll charge $1 per paper. And then it's completely obsolete by the next day, right? Like if somebody came to you and said, I want you to invest in that, you'd send them to a psych ward, right?
Absolutely.
Like it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it, to invest in a newspaper now?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the same thing kind of with the Bay, right? Like if you said, hey, I want a 40,000 square foot, 2-story building where I employ a staff and where we carry products, mostly clothing, some furnishing, and a few other things, right? And we're gonna warehouse only what's there in the store. And if it's not your size or style, well, you're out of luck, right? You would say, why would I do that? I can just get all this from Amazon.
Well, and that's it. Like, I mean, the new norm is going to be ordering. Like, I know even right now, like, I mean, you look a lot of your big box stores, whether we take Home Depot, for example, curbside pickup. The other day I ordered some supplies from Home Depot, and I got an email. It says, please don't show up to the store to get an email to let you know it's ready for pickup. So I get my email, go to Home Depot expecting to grab my product. I'm sitting in the parking lot for half an hour, Rick. Finally, I got out of my vehicle and I walked up to one of the guys in the orange suits and I said, excuse me here. My order, I got an email saying order's ready for pickup. He goes, oh, that means come here and we're starting to pick your order when you show up. So I burned an hour at Home Depot for things that I could have ordered online. And through frustration, I said to the guy, I said, this is why I want to turn to ordering online. It just makes it that much simpler.
Yeah, it's becoming such a ridiculous process, right? And how many times have you gone, you've taken all the trouble to go into a store, find something you like, and, oh, we don't have it in stock. And you're like, oh, Christ's sake, man.
And then they say, oh, let me check on the system because I'll send you another store. Well, but at that point, you're done, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Do you want to drive? You want to drive 30 minutes away to another store? They might have it. Oh, okay. No. And I mean,
yeah.
especially now, right? Now you're either waiting outside or so yeah, those places could be in trouble too. Those big box home repair type places, right? Lowe's, Rona, Home Depot.
Well, and the other ones too, Rick. That's really interesting. It just came to mind is a lot of your retail business that we have is franchise, whether it's Subway, Little Caesars, McDonald's. Like, how hard is it going to be to sell a franchise when we get to the new norm?
Yeah, especially on things like clothing. Well, clothing, I guess, has the advantage that most people want to try on their clothes, right?
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, that's probably going to hold up. But I mean, things like gyms, there's so many people that are buying gym equipment now. And once you make the commitment to buy gym equipment, you're not getting a membership again, not anytime soon, right?
I would say for at least a year, a good year at least, before people will, have the nerve. You might get your hardcore people that will go back to the gym, but I would say as a whole, a majority of the people, it would be at least a year before you see them head back to gyms.
Well, yeah. And I mean, a lot of that's just the fear factor, right? Like, I mean, who wants to get on a bench with a pool of sweat on it from the person before you, right?
Well, yeah. And the money it's going to cost to sanitize the facilities after everybody, guy works out, you got to sanitize it for the next guy to work out. Like, what's that cost? Now, all of a sudden, your membership fees are going to go up 20, 30, 40% for these additional operational costs that people just want to be able to afford. So they just won't go, right?
Actually, you know what, Dave? You make a really good point there that I hadn't thought of before. And that's the new operational procedures that are going to put strain on companies.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the cost of, like when it comes to, with schooling, like you and I were talking today, you can only go to the bathroom on an emergency. Well, whenever I go to the bathroom, it's usually because it's an emergency. Or you're going to be escorted to the bathroom in order for the janitor to come in and sanitize the bathroom after you.
Well, that's actually what they're going to do.
I know.
Yeah, they're going to have somebody waiting. Will you go out and drop a deuce in the toilet? Somebody's going to be waiting outside to spray you down, right?
Well, then the guy gets frustrated because you say you're going in for a pee and it's a double feature.
Yeah. Bang. Are you done yet? No.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, and at places like gyms, oh, yeah, you're right, man. Because, I mean, they would probably have to have some kind of sanitation procedure in place for every single person using equipment.
Yeah.
Using a bench, right?
Movie theaters, like you're going to see a lot of movie theaters close.
Yeah, they were dying anyways, weren't they? Movie theaters.
Yeah.
Well, they were, but like, I mean, everything has its cycle. It's interesting because bell bottoms are coming back. They're making a storm back, right? I think drive-in theaters are going to make a comeback. I don't think you'll see them popping up all over, but I certainly think you're going to see a few open up. I'll be surprised if they don't.
Well, the challenge with drive-ins, right, is the real estate.
Yeah.
Like, you take up a lot of real estate, but they are flexible in that they can go in other areas and they don't need a lot of infrastructure, just a massive screen, right?
That's right. Pretty simple.
So I'm going to show you this actually, Dave, since you bring this up. I have been trying for a couple weeks now to visit the one and only drive-in out here in the Lower Mainland. And look, sold out. Weekend, sold out. Oh, Jaws. Geez, I wonder if I can get that one. Back to the Future, sold out. Damn it, I wanted to see that one. You know what? I'm going to book tickets for Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Me and Ivan are going to go. You know what, Dave, while you talk us through some more out of business situations, I'm going to book this.
Well, the other interesting thing that I think about too, Rick, is dealerships. You look at auto dealerships, the size of the footprints that auto dealerships need to house, the stock, the inventory, and, the size of the dealership themselves. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of dealerships closing down.
Now, why do you say that? That wouldn't be so much from the virus, but wouldn't it be more just from the economy cratering?
That's what we're talking about now. Like, I mean, what's going to survive out of this COVID? Like, I mean, if you think back in the 90s, if you remember back to the 90s, mid to late 90s, when GM closed down a whole bunch of dealerships, right?
Yeah.
you know, I think you're going to see the same thing in today's world. I think you're going to see dealerships that are struggling. Like, you know, here in Ontario, Wonderland, you go to the parking lot, they got over 25,000 units sitting parked because the units just aren't moving.
Yeah, and I guess that's just, see, I mean, that's another thing, right? I mean, we're going to see, you know, we're going to see the first tier of businesses go down, right? And these are essentially going to be all the businesses that are directly impacted by the COVID, right? Like hotels, airlines, restaurants, places like the retailers, all the ones that were gyms, all the ones that were marginal, and the COVID has just killed off their revenue stream and they won't recover from it. We're going to see a bunch of those go down. And then we're going to see the fallout in a few months when people start defaulting on loan payments, mortgages, and stuff's going to start just getting backed up in terms of inventory, right?
Well, yeah, but then, you know, you can put a positive spin on that, Rick. And I think what's going to happen is those companies that, you know, have the ability to reload in this process are going to come out the other side twice as strong as they went into this COVID, because of the fact that, you know, the closures from these businesses, you know, that they're able to take advantage of the situation and utilize the closures to enhance their business.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge, I guess, is, you know, are we going to be in a world where there's like 10 major companies, you know, Walmart, Amazon, you know, Home Depot, and something else, and that's pretty much it, right?
Loblaws.
Yeah, maybe Loblaws, right? But I mean, basically every industry is just going to have one massive player, and the rest of us are just going to be kind of scrambling around, right?
Well, yeah, but, you know, Canada was built on small businesses, and, you know, like, I mean, I think that we'll always have smaller businesses to certain degrees in niche industries. You know, like, I mean, the larger retail, every segment has its big three players. You know, you take the beverage segment, you know, Coke and Pepsi and Dr. Pepper, right? You take the coffee segment, Keurig, you know, Maxwell House. So there's a few big players, and everybody else kind of fights for the odds and ends. I was actually talking to a friend of mine who works for a roasting company. They supply a lot of, you know, A&W. They supply a lot of the restaurants, a lot of your chain restaurants, coffee, their house coffee. Well, they're actually on the midst of closing down.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the restaurants and the hotels won't be ordering, right?
Well, no. How many times do you go to how many times have you been to an A&W or a Wendy's and ordered coffee for the drive-thru?
Well, lately I do it all the time, but I mean, in the past I had not done it at all.
No, but you will if you go in, right? You go in, you have breakfast, you have a coffee with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just not selling right now. You know?
No. So what else do you think? Do you think there's going to be, what do you think is going to be the effect on the construction industry and housing sales?
Well, you know, housing sales, that's an interesting one because a friend of mine, Kristen, he's a realtor, and I was talking to him last week, and he actually said that the housing prices right now are the same as they were in January 2020. He's actually doing 4 to 8 virtual sales a day. He's actually showing people houses virtually. Like, he's busy.
Huh. Is there any change in what they're looking for and stuff like that?
No, like, I mean, the interesting part, he said the only thing they're looking for is they're spending a lot more time going through the house virtually. And then, of course, you know, they want to visit, right? So it's getting, that's the challenge he's having, is getting people to allow someone else, other people to walk in there through their house. You know, what he's done is he's even gone as far as supplying gloves, because, you know, he had signs up, no touching anything. Well, how do you go to a house and not open up a cupboard? It's pretty tough, right? How do you not open up a closet? Pretty tough. So what he's been doing is, when he does his house visits, he's actually supplying gloves to the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what would be a good business idea? Is to start up a rapid cleaning company. Like, you call us, we'll be at a place in 30 minutes and we'll disinfect it in an hour, right?
Yeah. And you're going to see those companies pop up, Rick.
Oh, I know. Well, probably cleaning companies are just going to pivot towards doing that, right?
Well, you're going to see, the new norms coming out of this too. You're going to see companies that sell hand sanitizer. I think that's going to be, they're going to be popping up. Like, there's a few of them that popped up when SARS was around, and they continued on after SARS. And now that COVID's here, after COVID, you look at Benemax. Dennis is working for Benemax. They're doing hand sanitizer now.
Yeah. Well, lots of changes. But you know what, Dave? Stick around. I want to chat with you a little bit. We're going to end the show right now so that we can upload it in a decent time. But then stick around because I want to chat a bit more, okay?
Okay.